Thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today, it is gladly time to talk about a Frank Zappa release, a fairly recent one. I think it was late last year. Took me some time to absorb all the stereo content and then to finally listen to the quadraphonic 5.1 and Dolby Atmos versions of this record. This is Over-nite Sensation by Frank Zappa. If I recall correctly, the Zappa estate is releasing deluxe versions of certain titles for 50th anniversaries. I think that's true. So we're going to talk about this box set. Bottom line up front, I really like it, and if the price is okay for you, I recommend picking this up. Okay, so let me see here. This is not my first exposure to Over-nite Sensation in multi-channel. I have had the quad vinyl version. This is a quadradisc. Now, I know what you're thinking, stereo sleeve, but bam, right there on the label. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the quadradisc logo. This is a quadraphonic vinyl record. Now, this is CD4. It is a discrete format. It is different than Matrix. It requires special equipment, special stylus, special cartridge, special tone arm, and demodulator, quadraphonic amplifier, and extra speakers. Okay, so it's a tall order. So anyway, I have had some sort of historical reference for this album in multi-channel, and I don't know. I guess that'll be relevant at some point in this discussion. All right. So, hey, you see that I'm wearing a Primus shirt. I just wanted to represent, like, I don't have any Frank Zappa shirts. So I thought, like, I'd throw on, like, the next weirdest thing that I own. And I thought I'd give a shout out. So for those of you who have heard Sailing the Seas of Cheese in DVD audio 5.1, you'll know that this is just crazy. And for those of you who haven't and are willing to give Primus a chance, even though they are very weird, but if you're watching a Frank Zappa video, you're probably game. Try to pick up a copy of Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Long out of print. I have no idea how it's priced, but it is sonically very, very, very good, and it does the album justice, and it's quite a trip. Okay, and then also Primus a while back released, unfortunately, a DVD video of their cover of the entire Willy Wonka soundtrack. Like the Willy Wonka from when I was a kid, Gene Wilder. And I wouldn't say that it like is prime for a lot of repeat listens, but it's cool to hear at least once. Unfortunately, it's just Dolby Digital 5.1. At this point, I think DVD audio had kind of died a death, and a lot of mixing studios just didn't have the licensing for the software or something. So I really wish DVD audio was still alive. It is actually my favorite multi-channel format, except for now that Blu-ray audio can do Atmos and RO3D and DTSX. I would say if it's in a 3D format, Blu-ray is for me, but man, I sure do miss DVD audio. In any case, all right, so Frank Zappa in multi-channel. I think either like the year before or early last year, maybe, Zappa Estate released Waka Wazoo, which was like a blend of the Grand Wazoo and Waka Jawaka. So you got like, bonus material from both records. And then on the Blu-ray, you get both records in stereo 5.1 and Dolby Atmos, and very well mixed, very appropriate, and adding a lot of separation to those highly orchestrated parts. And the only like uncool thing about this set was there was like a Dolby dial norm volume issue with both albums. So if I recall correctly, like you had to turn one album up around 8 dB more than normal, and then the other one was like 13.5 dB more than normal. which to my ears didn't affect fidelity, like digital magic, you just had to turn up your volume, but it didn't raise the noise floor to my ears. But you did have to watch out when you got to the end of the albums, like the menu music automatically came back on and would just like smash your face in. So rip holes in your woofers. All right. So, but anyway, Waka Wazoo, it is cool. And if you like the Grand Wazoo or Waka Jawaka material and you want to hear it in multi-channel, like this set is worth picking up. Just watch out for that dial norm, madness. Okay. And then just going like a ways back further, the Zappa estate released Quadiophiliac, which features some Frank Zappa quadraphonic mixing, if I recall correctly, and is notable for its version of Waka Jawaka. I believe some people consider the version here to be definitive or just excellent and well worth hearing. So that's a DVD audio, Quadiophiliac, and then Frank Zappa Halloween. I recall this being an unremarkable multi-channel mix, but it is cool to throw on at Halloween, just for the Zappa madness. And I recall the fidelity being pretty dang good, and it's DVD audio, so it's high res lossless multi-channel. All right. So now, Over-nite Sensation, the box set. It's a small box, but it is a box and it is a set. And what you get in here, you get a booklet with pictures like of, Frank making guitar face. And it's actually kind of his normal face. Pictures of the master tape boxes, master tapes. Yes, that's what I like. I love seeing the master tapes. Whoa, there's a gal there. But anyway, you get stories, you get lyrics, you get credits. So cool book. I'm pretty sure that I perused it a while back, but I don't I don't remember anything from it. So sorry about that. My memory is like Swiss cheese. But then you get CDs. Do you like CDs? You want a CDs? It's a me with the jokes lately. All right, so CD1, you get the album and then some sessions, extra stuff. CD2, I think, is more, bonus vault sensations continued. And then you get the beginning of a Hollywood Palladium show. And then I think CD3 is Palladium continued. Yep. And then CD4 is Cabo Hall, Detroit, Michigan. So 1973. So you get some vault sessions material. You get some really cool live material. I have listened to all that, and I just have to say that, like, even though I was like casually listening, like it was very, very, very intriguing stuff. So I don't think this set includes any fluff. Like if you love Over-nite Sensation by Frank Zappa, every like aspect of this set is valuable. And then especially disc 5, get a Blu-ray audio. And I'll note that I am thankful that the discs all come in their own sleeves. I really appreciate that sort of thing. Like this Blu-ray will probably end up residing on my bookshelf next to other Blu-rays in their own sleeves. All right, so I appreciate that. Now this Blu-ray comes packing 2 different versions of high-res stereo. You get 192K if your system can handle that, and 96 if it can't. You get 96K, the original quadraphonic mix. So my quadradisc is going in the for sale or giveaway bin in my music room. You get a 48K Dolby True HD 5.1 mix of the album, and then you get a 48K Dolby Atmos mix. Atmos. 48K. So then let me just say, okay, and I'll show off the Blu-ray for a second. Just has some album art and the Blu-ray symbol. And if you shine Blu-rays at it, you get music. All right, so the multi-channel mixes. I think the best way I can describe these mixes is that you have Frank Zappa's stereo mix represented here. I consider that to be like holy ground. No need to mess with Frank's mixes, okay? Then the quadraphonic mix, from my memory of the quadradisc and also from my memory of listening to the quad on the Blu-ray last night. The quadraphonic mix takes the stereo mix and leaves some parts up front and then just extrudes some parts out into the room, into your rears or your surrounds, okay? And it does so faithfully, like it respects the stereo panning. It respects the original mix, and it just kind of, makes the stereo mix two-dimensional for you, all right? Instead of one dimension up in the front of your room, now you've got your X and your Y axis, okay, represented. Okay, and then the 5.1 mix, the 5.1 mix, simply it respects the quad mix, but it isolates and or reinforces some parts in the center channel, which would have been kind of like front and center in the stereo and quad mixes anyhow. So it just reduces some work for those front, left, and right speakers. Okay, so in theory, you can get some higher fidelity, even though it kind of like very closely resembles the quadraphonic mix, those front, left, and right speakers are doing less work. All right, so they should sound better. All right, so then the Atmos mix takes the 5.1 and again, it respects the left and right panning and the that y-axis panning, the panning that brings parts out into your room, and then it just like elevates some parts up into the heights and reduces some work for your ground speakers, and then offloads some of the work into those heights and just adds a sense of 3D because now you have the z-axis. All right, X, Y, and Z. All right, so if stereo can be thought of as 1D and surround can be thought of as 2D, then Atmos can be thought of as 3D. You get 3 axes. All right, so the good news here is that a lot of times when multi-channel remixing is done, if it doesn't closely respect a highly lauded and beloved original stereo or mono mix, then it's very off-putting to people who are very closely in touch with the original material. So I don't think we have that problem here. I think everything has been done with very deep respect for Frank's work, musically and in terms of mixology. And you are in for a treat. This album is just the bee's knees. It's the cat's meow. It's titties. And these remixes have been just exquisitely done. Now, a problem here for some is going to be price. Just looking around on the internet, I'm seeing prices somewhere between like in the, $70 plus range, and then on up into like $100, depending on where you're trying to shop. Looking through my records, I got this for around $70. Okay. Now, if all you're interested in is one multi-channel mix, that might be too steep. But like I said, in my opinion, every disc here is valuable. The book, has some value, and the Blu-ray just exquisitely done. There's, to my ears, no dial norm issue here. Per normal, I cranked the Atmos mix a few dB above everything else, but stereo, quadraphonic, 5.1, Atmos, they were all like reasonably close to each other in volume. So I don't think there's any like wacky dial norm settings that got missed or tweaked here. This is just super cool. Super, super cool. So again, we've been talking about Frank Zappa, Over-nite Sensation, the box set. If you find it at a price point that works for you and you like or respect Frank Zappa, and you're interested in either the, all of the stereo content, including high-res stereo for the album, and especially if you're interested in multi-channel music from quadraphonic through 5.1 and on up to Dolby Atmos, tons of options here, then go ahead and pick this up. So I believe this has been my first review of 2024, and I am just thrilled that Frank took that spot. I had some time in my home theater room last night. My son racked out, and my puppy was up for some Zappa. So I went ahead and I had auditioned the stereo material a while ago and was waiting for the chance to listen to the multi-channel. I listened to everything on the Blu-ray, except I didn't listen to all of the stereo content. I listened to the quad, the 5.1, and the Atmos. And I wasn't tired of the album by the end of those three like consecutive listens. Like I was just sucked further and further and further and further in. There's so much brilliant content on this album. The only thing I'll say in conclusion is that this whets my appetite for the Zappa estate to go ahead and do Apostrophe. I sure hope they do. Apostrophe, I believe, I only have the stereo copy. Just kind of showing off my LP to show you that I really love Zappa, okay? I believe Apostrophe was issued in quadraphonic, and and it also is like more beloved than Over-nite Sensation for some Zappa fans. So I'm pretty sure that the Zappa estate will honor it with an anniversary deluxe, offering. And if Over-nite Sensation, the box set, is any indication, it's probably going to be priced, somewhere around $70. And it should contain a Blu-ray with quadraphonic on up, hopefully to Atmos again. So anyway, thank you, Zappa estate. You guys are just nailing it. I'm glad that you guys are putting out Mr. Zappa's incredible work with love and respect to his genius and attention to detail, and that you are supplying us multi-channel fans with what we want. Lossless, multi-channel, excellently mixed, and honoring just classic, amazing material. So anyway, all right, so this has been a rundown of Over-nite Sensation by Frank Zappa, and I hope that you all are enjoying it, or if your curiosity has been piqued, that you're able to find it and eventually enjoy it. It's mind-blowing, and it's just awesome, okay? So with that, until next time, I will just encourage each and every one of you, to the extent possible, to live life in surround.